Well, hello everyone. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Nathan Faw. I apologize if the audio is going to be a little bit crappy tonight. I'm in the middle of probably what will be about a 3-mile walk, jog / run, and yeah, it's somewhat windy tonight, but hopefully the audio will come through all right. But just thought I would share a few thoughts with you. So recently I've been listening to some audiobooks that have dealt with Eastern philosophy, and the one that I am currently on is specifically dealing with Buddhist teachings. And I was listening to it this morning on my way out to go goose hunting, and there was been just some things that really stood out that have stuck with me throughout the day, and I've decided to share them with you. But for anybody who actually studies Buddhism, or I guess is a Buddhist, I will apologize for probably my very simplistic ideas and narrative on the subject. This isn't, to quote specific doctrine or whatever. It's just, like I said, kind of my ideas on the subject. But anyway, specifically what stood out to me was, I believe the book was talking about the idea of, kind of really at the center of Buddhism is realizing like the answer is never in the external world. Like your Buddha nature has always been within you, and somewhere along the way we have lost connection with our inner Buddha. And really, achieving enlightenment is about kind of, stripping away everything and getting back to our original nature, which is ultimately our Buddha selves. The idea is that, we were born perfect creatures, but then somewhere in the midst of, our lives and our experiences and all the things that have happened to us, that we've lost our connection to, kind of our perfect nature. Another way of saying this is probably a little bit easier to understand is, like if you've ever walked up to a clear body of water, a puddle, or even maybe up at the lake or something, and it's perfectly calm, and you can see the bottom of the puddle or whatever, and it's completely at peace. But then what happens? You stick your foot in it and you kick up all the silt, and all of a sudden it becomes very cloudy and there's a lot of chaos, and you can no longer see the bottom, and the water is stirring. And that's, to me, kind of the basic idea here, is that that's what happens throughout our lives, is we've stirred up all of the silt and all of the other garbage that goes along with it, and we're largely in a state of chaos. And if we want to really get back to be the best version of ourselves, we have to learn how to disconnect with that noise and learn to find kind of a sense of peace with where we're at, which can be very difficult if, especially if we've experienced trauma or we've had some very negative experiences. But there's not an easy way to really talk about this, other than you have to realize at some point that you are not the things that have happened to you. You're not the trauma or the pain or the losses or the hurt or all the things that have gone on. You are really what you decide to be, and you forget that you have control over kind of what you do with that. It's when we choose to hook into something, and when we choose to hold on to something, and we feel entitled to hold on to that something. And, you know, in some ways at times we almost, you know, start to create a sense of identity or a sense of self around some of this stuff, that is really more what the problem is. It's not what has happened, it's what we've done with it that ultimately matters. I mean, this is kind of, you know, the basic idea of, you know, kind of what's happening, like for anybody that's ever looked at like 12-step, the 12 steps, and specifically like within the 4th and 5th step when we start working on our resentments, is, you know, to really look at kind of what our part in those resentments and figuring out what we have to do with them to move forward. So anyways, you know, it's realizing that, not to get too long-winded or off track, but again, the basic idea is that we have allowed ourselves to get completely lost throughout our lives, and if we want to truly be at peace and find a place where we can be comfortable with our nature, we're not going to change the things that have happened, but we really can change ourselves, and we can really work on I guess, letting go or coming to terms or finding acceptance with our lives and the things that have happened, and realize that every day it's a decision to decide if I'm, you know, how I'm going to choose to look at the world. You know, am I going to choose to continue to be a victim in some ways? Am I going to choose to be angry? Am I going to choose to hold on to pain and sorrow or whatever? Or am I simply going to choose to say, you know what, no, not today. I'm going to do what I have to do to get past these things and to heal and to grow and to get better and to get back, you know, to make steps towards reconnecting with my true self and my true nature. So anyways, there's just, like I said, some thoughts for the day. I'll probably end there, or, you know, I'll probably talk for an hour. I have a tendency to kind of, once I start letting the wheels turn in my brain, to have a hard time shutting it off. So I'll leave it with that. I hope everybody is having a good weekend and is doing well. And yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll get back to doing another one of these next weekend. But until next time, what's possible? Let's find out.